Elon Musk gets shocked reuniting with his ex after 20 years and the millonario Donald Trump. The Silicon Valley streets buzzed louder than ever. Techies, startups, reporters, all caught in the chaos of an electric presidential race. But no one expected the storm brewing inside this swirling crowd. Elon Musk, the man known for rockets and electric cars, just found himself face to face with a ghost from his past. Not just any ghost, but the woman who ripped through his heart 2 decades ago. Whispers spread fast. Is that Lisa Carter? The fiery social activist, right here in the heart of innovation? Eyes darted, jaws dropped. She was the one who once gave Elon everything before the world and their dreams pulled them apart. The years didn't soften her gaze. If anything, it sharpened it. Fierce, determined, unyielding. But the real shock? The rumors tying Donald Trump's name to this reunion. The millionaire tycoon now stirred into the fiery mess of the 2024 campaign, had turned Alex Reynolds' story, not Elon's, into a twisted weapon. A story of love, loss, and quiet rebellion, suddenly weaponized to fuel political rage. Trump seized the moment, painting Alex and Lisa's lives like a bizarre spectacle for his rallies. Casting shadows where there was light, lies where there was truth. Inside a crowded cafe, Alex sat frozen, heart pounding like a wild drum. His hands trembled on the table, eyes locked on Lisa's familiar face, decades younger, but worn with battles fought behind closed doors. The lump in his throat shouted a lifetime of things unsaid. He remembered the way she smiled, the silence that followed their last goodbye. And now she was here, tangled in a world that neither had expected. She reached out, a hesitant touch, like a lifeline tossed into the stormy sea between them. The hum of the city faded around them. Only the weight of old love and new shock hit Alex like a punch to the gut. A child? Them? How had the years hidden such a truth? The cafe fell into a hush. The low murmur of tech-fueled chatter gave way to gasps and sideways glances. Their story wasn't just theirs anymore. The political machine was spinning it into chaos. Behind the windows, giant screens flashed Trump's grinning face, twisting tails, throwing shadows on who Alex really was. The stakes shot higher. Not just a reunion, but a war of lives and love caught in the crossfire. Alex glanced at Lisa. Old feelings crashed over him. The hope, the regret, the anger. Could he hold on to what he'd built? Could he trust this flicker of love rising from the ashes? And what did the future hold for the child they never knew? A silent heartbeat, tying them beyond the headlines and lies. Before Alex could even try to answer, his phone buzzed. A message popped up. No sender. Just one chilling line. Be careful what you discover. The world outside rushed on, unaware of the storm unleashed inside that crowded cafe. But Alex and Lisa sat frozen, caught in a moment far bigger than both of them. What now? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The world outside rushed on, unaware of the storm unleashed inside that crowded cafe. But Alex and Lisa sat frozen, caught in a moment far bigger than both of them. "What now?" Alex whispered, his voice barely a breath. The past loomed large, casting shadows over the choices he had made. Lisa's eyes were pools of uncertainty. The silence was thick, almost suffocating. But before either could gather their thoughts, chaos erupted. A loud crash shattered the moment, a nearby window bursting open. Glass rained down like glittering shards. People screamed, ducking and covering, while Alex and Lisa's gaze snapped toward the source. A blinding flash of light radiated from the street. Then, a dark figure emerged, silhouetted against the chaos. The crowd recoiled, whispers turning into panicked shouts. Who was this person? And what did they want? As the figure stepped closer, Alex's heart dropped. The face was familiar, an echo from their intertwined past. It was a man named Marcus, someone they both thought was just a phantom of history. He had been part of their lives decade ago, before everything had fallen apart. But this was not the Marcus they once knew. He looked different, hardened, almost menacing. "You shouldn't have come back," he spat, eyes flaring with anger. "This isn't your fight anymore." "What are you talking about?" Lisa shot back, the fierce spirit that once captivated a young Elon spilling into her voice. Alex placed a hand on her arm, urging caution. Marcus stepped forward, lip curling in a sneer. "You have no idea what game you've stumbled into. The stakes are higher than you think. It's about more than just you two." A tense silence blanketed the cafe. Hearts raced, breaths hitched. Lisa's eyebrows furrowed, confusion etched deep in her features. "What do you mean?" Marcus's gaze flickered toward the screens outside, flashing Trump's face, twisting their story into something monstrous. "You're all part of a larger plan. The child. It's not just about you. It's about power, control." The words echoed like a gunshot in the quiet cafe. "A child?" Alex felt his breath hitch. "What do you know about the child?" Marcus smirked, a twisted gleam in his eye. "You think the past is buried? You think you can just walk away? The child is the key, and they'll stop at nothing to get what they want." Suddenly, sirens wailed, cutting through the tension. The air turned electric. People started to back away, creating space as chaos loomed. "What have you done?" Alex shouted, voice breaking with urgency. But Marcus only laughed, a dry, jagged sound. "Oh, it's all just beginning. You're about to find out how deep this rabbit hole goes." Before Alex could process the words, Marcus turned, disappearing into the crowd. The cafe buzzed with confusion, a mix of shock and fear. Lisa grabbed Alex's hand, squeezing it tight. "We have to go, now!" They bolted for the door, the city outside a pulsing mass of chaos and uncertainty. The lights of the street shifted, shadows dancing under the glow. The stakes had escalated, and everything was on the line. love, lives, and their hidden past. But as they stepped into the chaos, a second message slipped through Alex's phone. He glanced at the screen, heart racing. Another chilling line lit up the dark. Your child is not who you think. The weight of that revelation crashed over him like a wave. The world spun, and his grip on reality slipped. What had they stumbled into? Ahead lay uncertainty, and behind them, shadows from the past. There was no backing down now. Be careful what you discover. The words echoed in Alex's mind, a chilling whisper threading through his thoughts. He glanced at Lisa, her hand still hovering, uncertain what to say next. Then the cafe door burst open. A man stumbled in, wild-eyed and panting. He was disheveled, clothes askew, as if he'd just run from a nightmare. Instantly, every head in the room turned. The buzz faded. The hum of conversation ceased. Something was wrong. "Alex!" the man shouted, breathless. He locked eyes with Alex, desperation clear in his expression. "You need to get out of here now." "What?" Alex shot back, heart racing. The sudden urgency sent adrenaline surging through him. "Do you not understand? They're coming for you." He dropped his voice to a whisper, but the panic in his eyes screamed volumes. Silence wrapped around their table like a heavy blanket. "Who's coming?" Lisa asked, voice trembling as she stepped closer to Alex. Before the man could respond, a deafening crash shattered the cafe's stillness. The windows exploded inward. Glass shards glinting like deadly rain. Chaos erupted. Screams pierced the air. People ducked, scattered, and shouted in confusion. Alex felt Lisa's grip tighten, anchoring him in the storm of panic that surrounded them. But the man hadn't moved. He stood there, rooted in place, eyes wide. "Alex, get out!" he shouted again, urgency slicing through the chaos. "Now, before it's too late!" And then, just as quickly, the cafe was flooded with the sounds of police sirens wailing outside, blending with the tumultuous cries inside. Alex felt the sharp tension rise, a palpable fear sitting heavy in his stomach. But amid the chaos, the man's expression shifted from fear to something darker, more calculating. A flicker of recognition crossed his face, like a flash of lightning illuminating the dark. "Wait!" Alex said slowly, stepping back. "Who are you?" The man opened his mouth to speak, but just then, a group of officers stormed in, urgency in their movements. They pushed past people, shrieking in terror, eyes scanning the room. Alex's heart sank as a familiar face stepped into view. A former colleague, Jason, now a detective. "Alex Reynolds!" Jason shouted, eyes locking on. "You're under investigation. We need to talk." "What?" Alex's voice was barely a whisper now. Confusion and dread twisted like knots in his gut. The room spun. Love, secrets, and now this whirlwind of chaos. "What does that mean?" Lisa's voice came through sharp, laced with fear, but all Alex could focus on was the way Jason's gaze flickered to the man beside him. "Witness protection," Jason snapped, taking a step toward them. Boom! "Get him out of here, now!" And just like that, reality shifted. The man's earlier panic crystallized into clarity. "You don't understand," he rasped. "There's more to this than you know. You're connected to things, dangerous things." In that moment, something deep inside Alex shattered. The past he thought he knew, The love he assumed was lost forever. Everything wavered. What kind of truth was hidden in the shadows, with the crowd still buzzing around them in sheer chaos? Alex felt unmoored, gasping for breath. "Lisa, we need to go!" He turned, but she stood frozen, eyes wide, uncertainty etched across her face. His heart thudded hard against his ribcage, pulling him toward a terrifying choice. Un ultimátum hung en el aire, tesque de fuego. Antes que podía procesarlo, las pailes flickeraron iridamente. Un shauto de Jason hace interrumpe el sistema silencio. Las palabras explotantes en el piso y la noche en el silencio. ¿Qué se había pasado a este caos? ¿Qué revelaciones acuegantes, guardando noso del alcance? ¿Qué había prendido entre Nuchanúncima? Y Alex sentía el terreno jonco por debajo de su piedra. Esento podíase juntar más tiempo, y en ese momento se determinó tuvo alegrarse que eso está todavía acabado. De caro, que Alex sentía también el toro sí el final. Den caos eruptió de nuevo. No solo el pánico de la gente, sino un cambio sorprendente en la atmósfera. La puerta del café se abrió hasta Samega del patinero. A woman burst in, her eyes wild, lips trembling. "Alex? Lisa?" she called, voice breaking like glass. She was a stranger, but somehow familiar. It clicked. Chloe, Lisa's best friend from back in the day. "You have to listen to me." Everyone turned, eyes on her, the urgency spilling out of her. "What are you doing here?" Lisa breathed, her voice low with confusion. "Listen, I don't have much time." Chloe rushed forward, her hands shaking. "There's something you don't know. About the child. It's not just any child. They've hidden the truth for years." Every heartbeat thudded loud in Alex's ears. "What do you mean?" he demanded, the lump in his throat choking him. "It's not yours, Alex. It's Marcus's. That's why he's back. He's been looking for—" Before she could finish, the lights flickered again, a cold dread sweeping over the room. The sirens blared louder as people gasped. The air felt heavy and thick, as if the walls themselves were closing in. "What are you talking about?" Lisa's face went pale, hand covering her mouth. Alex's mind raced. Confusion and betrayal tangled together like a tight knot. He's been watching you both. The child, it's his baby, not yours." Alex staggered back, the world spinning around him, rushing memories of laughter, stolen glances, and promises of love, suddenly feeling like ashes in his mouth. "No, that can't be true." His voice cracked, trembling with disbelief. "We lost it. We thought we lost everything." "It couldn't be." Chloe shook her head, tears glistening in her eyes. "I wish it were different. But it's true. He has been planning this for years. Marcus wanted control, and he's not done with you yet." A heavy silence dropped over them, only the distant wails of sirens breaking the tension. Alex's heart pounded as he glanced at Lisa, and for the first time, he saw the flicker of fear in her eyes. "Why didn't you tell me?" she whispered, anguish flooding her voice. Before Chloe could answer, a loud explosion thundered outside, glass cascading down like rain. The crowd screamed, panic explosive as everyone pushed and shoved to escape. "They know you're here," Chloe shouted over the din. "You need to get out." But Alex felt rooted to the spot, caught in the whirlwind of revelation. "What are you saying?" he cried. "Are you sure?" "This isn't about you anymore," Chloe said. "It never was. If you stay, you'll lose everything." Suddenly, a booming voice cut through the chaos. "Alex Reynolds, we know you're in there. Come out with your hands up." The officers were back, armed, ready. "Go, now!" Chloe urged, shoving them toward a door at the back. Lisa grabbed Alex's hand tightly, eyes flaring with urgency. But just then, Marcus appeared in the doorway, a wild smirk twisted on his lips. "You really thought you'd escape this?" he taunted. "I should have known you would come slithering back." The cafe surged with tension. The stakes shot up again. "Alex!" Lisa cried, pulling him close. "What do we do?" In that moment of pure chaos, Alex felt something snap inside him. Rage, betrayal, and heartbreak collided. "I won't let you take anything from us!" he shouted, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "But it's too late for that, isn't it?" Marcus said, eyes glinting with the thrill of the game. Just when the chaos seemed overwhelming, an unexpected figure stepped forward. Jason shoved through the crowd, urgency written on his face. "We're not done yet!" he shouted, brandishing something in his hand. But before Alex could comprehend what that something was, he felt Lisa's grip slip. "Alex!" she screamed as the walls closed in. And in a blinding moment of dread, everything fractured. Jason shouted something, a warning, but the noise drowned it out. The world split into shadows, lights flashing, chaos wrapping around him like a shroud. "No!" he roared, but it was too late. The truth loomed like a storm, ready to consume them all. What had they unleashed? What lay ahead in the eye of this gathering tempest? "Find out," whispered a familiar voice from the light. And then all was fear, pulling deeper into the unknown. Alex looked at Lisa, the air thick with unspoken words. The cafe around them buzzed with laughter and chatter, oblivious to the emotional whirlwind swirling at their table. People drifted by, eyes flicking toward them, the tension palpable. What did it mean, this child? "Who?" he started, voice barely more than a whisper. "Who is it?" Lisa's fingers trembled slightly as she spoke. "Her name is Mia. She's our daughter." Stunned silence enveloped them. A daughter! Instinctively, Alex's heart raced, shifting between disbelief and a rush of memories. Flashes of laughter and dreams danced behind his eyes. Could it be real? Could there really be a child tied to their past? Then came a jarring crash from the street outside. A voice, loud and booming, cut through the cafe's cozy atmosphere, drawing everyone's attention. "What the hell is going on here?" Heads turned toward the door. The crowd gasped as a figure entered, a tall man with a familiar build, almost larger than life. Donald Trump. The chatter fell to silence as he strode in like he owned the place. Cámaras snapearon, folletos puntados como armas. Él espotó a Alex y Lisa. Un grito de las perras se les entrilizó. "Musk, Carter, estoy aliviado de su irritada. A ver." "Sí." He motioned to the two of them, his voice rendering mockery. "This won't end well for you." Lisa flinchó, la ira esparciéndose en sus ojos. "¿Qué quieres? Vi a que te fuera en el pasado." "Friends, thought I'd bring a little truth to the table." Trump's voice boomed again, filled with a twisted delight. He brandished a folder, thick and battered, like it contained all kinds of secrets. "This, my friends, is going to shake up your world." People whispered and moved closer, seeking the drama unfolding. Alex felt the weight of the moment crush him. The tension pulsed like a living thing, each heartbeat a reminder of the stakes. He tried to catch Lisa's eye, but her fierce expression told him she wasn't backing down. Trump leaned closer, relishing the moment. "You see, this isn't just a reunion," he said, waving the folder in the air. "This is leverage. You think you can hide your daughter from the world? I'll make sure everyone knows who she really is, why she's here." A collective gasp rippled through the cafe. What had he just implied? Fear shot through Alex, and he shot a glance at Lisa. Her face had turned a shade paler, her eyes wide with a blend of shock and fury. "You wouldn't dare." "Oh, but I do. Information is the real currency in this game." Trump smirked, clearly enjoying his role as the puppet master. "And you're both on the strings now. Ready for the show?" As he waved the folder in the air, the binding ripped slightly. Large photographs spilling out, a child's smile frozen in time, innocence turned into a weapon. The room was electric, full of breath held in disbelief, eyes wide as the reality hit. Before Alex could process the unfolding chaos, Lisa's expression changed. It shifted from fear to determination, the familiar fire igniting her resolve. "You think you can control us? You're mistaken," she shouted against the impending storm. But Alex felt a tightness swell in his chest, a mix of fear and urgency. The stakes had transformed overnight, turning their quiet reunion into a colossal battlefield with unknown enemies. They were caught in a political game with the world watching, and now the very foundation of their lives was crumbling under chaotic uncertainty. "What now?" Alex thought, glancing at the fluttering photographs spread across the floor, each one a piece of their shattered past. The cafe felt like a live wire, everyone watching, waiting for the next shocking twist. The adventure was just beginning, and nothing would ever be the same again. Alex's heart raced as the message glowed ominously on his phone. "Be careful what you discover." Up until that moment, everything had felt intense but familiar. The anxious buzz of the cafe, the surprise of Lisa's return, the mystery of their daughter. But now the air changed, thick with an uncertainty that suffocated. "The child. Is she safe?" Alex blurted, wrestling with the sudden shift in energy. Lisa's eyes widened. Her lips parted as if to speak, but no words came. The silence dragged, heavy and cumbersome. From across the cafe, a loud crash shattered the stillness. A man stumbled backward, dropped his drink, and his chair hit the floor. Heads turned, conversations stopped. All eyes pinned down the filmy glass door that had just been kicked open with a startling force. "Here we go again," someone muttered under their breath. But inside, the sudden appearance of a figure caught Alex's gaze. It was a woman, her face obscured by a dark hoodie pulled tightly around her. She hurried in, scanning the room, until her gaze locked onto Alex and Lisa. Recognition flared in her eyes, raising the tension to a boiling point. "Alex!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the hushed air like a knife. "You need to get out of here, now!" Lisa's grip tightened on the table as Alex stared at this stranger. "Who are you?" he demanded, caught between confusion and adrenaline. The woman stepped closer, fear and urgency etched into her features. "I don't have time to explain. You're in danger." "They know about the child. The word hung between them. The child. Lisa's iPhone vibrated. She showed a notification on her screen. News alerts, headlines flashing, StarTech billionaires past exposed. The room buzzed again, whispers roiling like a brewing storm. Lisa, what did you... Alex's voice cracked as he sought answers while bracing against an encroaching sense of dread. They've been digging into us. Digging into you, Lisa replied, her voice shaking slightly. I thought it was just politics. But they know about the kid. The ambiguity twisted like a knife in Alex's gut. How could they possibly know? We haven't even confirmed. Just then, the woman interjected sharply. Because the past isn't buried. It never is. Someone's been watching you, both of you. You think it's just the campaign? No, it's bigger than that. The cafe felt like a tightly coiled spring ready to snap. A few patrons began to gather their things, their nervous glances reflecting the rising tension. Your daughter, the woman pressed on, desperation overtaking her demeanor. She's more than you realize. You must protect her. What are you talking about? Alex asked, his heart pounding. What does that mean? Rewind 2 decades, the woman urged, her eyes darting. You have to remember what you've forgotten. There are secrets buried deeper than you think. Before Alex could respond, suddenly a horn blared outside, loud and jarring, as a convoy of black SUVs rolled into the street. They were too polished, too menacing to ignore. That's them! The woman shouted, urgency crackling in her voice. We've got to move! Panic surged, flooding Alex with dread. Who are they? He asked, voice frantic. But before the woman could answer, an explosion of shattering glass echoed through the cafe. A figure emerged from the back, a familiar face painted with menace and intent. It was someone from the past, someone Alex had never expected to see again. A ghost who held the key to everything. Across the cafe, Lisa's eyes widened in horror as she turned to Alex, gasping, "No, it can't be." The moment stretched, pulsing with the uncertainty of what it all meant. The stakes were higher than ever, and with the world crashing in around them, Alex felt the weight of all those years resting heavy on his shoulders. What did this reunion really mean? And as the din of chaos erupted around them, he had to wonder. Were the past and future colliding in ways he could never have imagined? The world outside rushed on, unaware of the storm unleashed inside that crowded cafe. But Alex and Lisa sat frozen, caught in a moment far bigger than both of them. What now? Alex's heart raced, adrenaline pumping through his veins as he caught Lisa's eyes. He searched for the answers reflected in her gaze, but all he found was a mirror of his own confusion and fear. But it was then that the cafe door burst open. The bell above tinkled innocently, but everything else rippled with tension. Dot! It was Lucas, Alex's younger brother, eyes wild with urgency. "Alex!" he called, voice slicing through the chatter, catching everyone's attention. "What are you doing here?" Alex stood, pulse quickening. "You promised. You said you wouldn't." "There's no time," Lucas cut him off, grabbing his arm, the urgency spreading to Alex like wildfire. "You need to see this. It's about Lisa and the child." Lisa's brow furrowed, a whirlwind of emotions passing through her. "What's going on? Lucas, what do you mean?" Lucas glanced around, noting the eyes locked onto them. The cafe felt smaller, the walls closing in. He leaned closer, lowering his voice to a whisper that dripped with gravity. "He found footage, Alex, from years ago. You won't believe what it shows." Alex felt the blood drain from his face. The lump in his throat grew heavier, choking him. "What footage?" Lucas looked over his shoulder, gauging who was listening. He whispered, "It's about the night she disappeared." Lisa's face paled, her eyes widening. "What night? What are you talking about?" Alex's mind raced back to that awful time when it all fell apart, when she vanished from his life without a trace, leaving only echoes of shattered dreams. "It's all connected," Lucas continued, urgency morphing into desperation. "They're using it against her now, in the campaign. There's more at stake here than you know." "What do you mean?" Alex shot back, frustration building. "What are you talking about?" Before Lucas could reply, the room shook as a loud crack split the air. Everyone turned, confusion painting their faces. The windows quaked, and a low rumble followed, almost like an earthquake. The screens outside flickered, broadcasting Trump's face. But something was wrong. The feed glitched, then cut to black. Panic coursed through the cafe. "Get down!" someone screamed, diving under a table. The humans caught in the frenzy gasped as glass shattered, and a muffled explosion rocked the street outside. It sent a shockwave through the building, rattling everyone to their core. "What the hell?" Alex shouted, adrenaline kicking in fully. But as he glanced back at Lisa, her face transformed. "I know why they're after us!" she shouted over the chaos, eyes aflame with something he'd never seen. "What?" he nearly cried, fear twisting in his gut. "They're hiding the truth!" Suddenly, the walls of familiarity crumbled. "Hide it from whom?" Before she could answer, the door crashed inwards. A swarm of suited men filed inside, faces grim, eyes hard. They stormed towards them, and everything shifted. The connection between them snapped sharply, that moment of old love eclipsed by something darker, an alliance brewing that neither could understand. "Alex!" Lucas whispered, his voice trembling. "We need to go, now." But all Alex could focus on was the chaos enveloping them, reality shifting in ways he never imagined. The child, the footage, the danger, and Lisa's burning truth were threads weaving a tapestry of betrayal and lost hope. As the agents closed in, everything they believed, that history, that love, hung in the balance, unraveling before their eyes. "What did you do, Lisa?" he wondered, the question hanging heavy as shadows closed in. Alex felt panic claw at his throat as the men advanced, their eyes cold and hungry. Every heartbeat thundered in his ears, drowning out the chaos around high. Lucas urged again, his voice a strained whisper, but Alex could hardly think. His mind raced, flooded with images and emotions that twisted and turned. "Please, what do you know?" Lisa demanded, stepping forward, defiance lit within her. The fire in her eyes flickered like a fragile candle, fighting against the dark storm brewing near. But before Lucas could reply, the cafe door burst open again. A figure stumbled in, shirt torn, face pale. It was Jason, gasping for breath. "You have to—" But the words fell away as the tension snapped. The room erupted in chaos, shouts rising like a tidal wave. The agents shouted orders, beginning to push patrons aside. Alex's heart raced as he realized they were after him. "Out of the way!" Jason shouted, brandishing something in his hands. But as he moved, a loud crash came from outside, shaking the building. The glass door shattered, sending shards flying, slicing through the air like deadly rain. Everything paused. The cafe went silent. Even the agents froze, eyes darting toward the commotion outside. Then, in a brutal moment, the lights flickered, and the entire building plunged into darkness. Screams erupted, and in the dim light of emergency sirens swirling outside, Alex felt a rush of adrenaline. He turned to Lisa, her face washed in pale light, eyes wide with dread. "We can't stay," he shouted, urgently. But just before they could make their move, there was a sudden loud bang, an explosion from the street that rattled the very foundation of the cafe. Apopo sa. Ah. Ah. Kele. Sacatamontare. Bien pasar el tiempo. Santía el pulmón. Al pulmón. Al pulmón. Al pulmón. Ofun. El ofun. Será en café. Despulmón. Despulmón. Off! The power flickered back on, and in the disorienting chaos, a shadowy figure stepped through the broken doorway. It was Marcus. With a grim smile, he held a device in his hand, glinting dangerously. "Did you think I'd let you go that easily?" he sneered, voice thick with mockery. "What are you doing here?" Alex spat, rage boiling within him. Marcus took a step forward and laughed, a cruel sound echoing in the chaos. "Oh, it's so much bigger than you think. Your little secret is about to blow up in your faces." As he spoke, the device in his hand flickered to life, casting an eerie glow across the cafe. Alex's stomach dropped as the truth hit him like a sledgehammer. "What do you mean? What secret?" And then, as if reality twisted sharply, Marcus raised the device higher. "Your daughter. She's not just your daughter, Alex. She's the key to everything. I've known it since the day she was born." The silence that followed was deafening. Eyes widened, jaws dropped, fear coiling in the air. Alex felt his heart shatter as everything he thought he knew crumbled. "What are you talking about?" Lisa whispered, voice trembling. "The adoption papers, Alex." Marcus grinned. "They weren't just about you two. She's the product of a larger scheme. A bargaining chip. Your family is entwined in something messy, something you'll never escape." Alex reeled, stomach twisting in knots. All the pieces crashed together, forming a horrific picture. The child they thought was theirs? How could it be? Before he could process, Jason yelled urgently, "Get down!" A flurry of movement erupted as agents burst forward, shoving people out of the way. Panic reigned again, and as the chaos unfolded, something snapped. The device in Marcus's hand exploded in a flash of light, followed by a blinding sound. The room swirled with confusion, blinding light merging with shadow, while everyone hit the ground. In the chaos, Alex reached for Lisa, their hands brushing together before they lost touch. But just before the darkness swallowed them whole, a scream pierced the air. And it wasn't just any scream. It was a child's scream, echoing through the chaos, cutting right through Alex's heart. "Mia!" he gasped, dread flooding through him, but the answer hung in the air, haunting and uncertain. Everything they believed was slipping from their grasp, and as they fought to navigate the chaos, uncertainty overshadowed hope. What had they stumbled into? What had Marcus unleashed? Alex felt panic claw at his throat as the men advanced, their eyes cold and hungry. Every heartbeat thundered in his ears, drowning out the chaos around him. "We need to move," Lucas urged again, his voice a strained whisper, but Alex could hardly think. His mind raced, flooded with images and emotions that twisted and turned. "Please, what do you know?" Lisa demanded, stepping forward, defiance lit within her. The fire in her eyes flickered like a fragile candle, fighting against the dark storm brewing near. But before Lucas could reply, the cafe door burst open again. A figure stumbled in, shirt torn, face pale. It was Jason, gasping for breath. "You have to—" But the words fell away as the tension snapped. The room erupted in chaos, shouts rising like a tidal wave. The agents shouted orders, beginning to push patrons aside. Alex's heart raced as he realized they were after him. "Out of the way!" Jason shouted, brandishing something in his hands. But as he moved, a loud crash came from outside, shaking the building. The glass door shattered, sending shards flying, slicing through the air like deadly rain. Everything paused. The cafe went silent. Even the agents froze, eyes darting toward the commotion outside. Then, in a brutal moment, the lights flickered, and the entire building plunged into darkness. Screams erupted, and in the dim light of emergency sirens swirling outside, Alex felt a rush of adrenaline. He turned to Lisa, her face washed in pale light, eyes wide with dread. "We can't stay!" he shouted urgently, but just before they could make their move, there was a sudden, loud bang. An explosion from the street that rattled the very foundation of the cafe. The power flickered back on, and in the disorienting chaos, a shadowy figure stepped through the broken doorway. It was Marcus! With a grim smile, he held a device in his hand, glinting dangerously. "Did you think I'd let you go that easily?" he sneered, voice thick with mockery. "What are you doing here?" Alex spat, rage boiling within him. Marcus took a step forward and laughed, a cruel sound echoing in the chaos. "Oh, it's so much bigger than you think. Your little secret is about to blow up in your faces." As he spoke, the device in his hand flickered to life, casting an eerie glow across the cafe. Alex's stomach dropped as the truth hit him like a sledgehammer. "What do you mean? What secret?" And then, as if reality twisted sharply, Marcus raised the device higher. "Your daughter, she's not just your daughter, Alex. She's the key to everything. I've known it since the day she was born." The silence that followed was deafening. Eyes widened, jaws dropped, fear coiling in the air. Alex felt his heart shatter as everything he thought he knew crumbled. "What are you talking about?" Lisa whispered, voice trembling. "The adoption papers, Alex." Marcus grinned. "They weren't just about you two. She's the product of a larger scheme, a bargaining chip. Your family is entwined in something messy, something you'll never escape." Alex reeled, stomach twisting in knots. All the pieces crashed together, forming a horrific picture. The child they thought was theirs? How could it be? Before he could process, Jason yelled urgently, "Get down!" A flurry of movement erupted as agents burst forward, shoving people out of the way. Panic reigned again, and as the chaos unfolded, something snapped. The device in Marcus's hand exploded in a flash of light, followed by a blinding sound. The room swirled with confusion, blinding light merging with shadow, while everyone hit the ground. In the chaos, Alex reached for Lisa, their hands brushing together before they lost touch. But just before the darkness swallowed them whole, a scream pierced the air. And it wasn't just any scream. It was a child's scream, echoing through the chaos, cutting right through Alex's heart. "Mia!" he gasped, dread flooding through him. But the answer hung in the air, haunting and uncertain. Everything they believed was slipping from their grasp, and as they fought to navigate the chaos, uncertainty overshadowed hope. What had they stumbled into? What had Marcus unleashed? Then, just as the dust began to settle and the chaos raged on, a voice rang out over the din. "Stop! Everyone, just stop!" It was Chloe, Lisa's friend from so long ago. She emerged from the shadows, catching the attention of everyone in the room. "I have something important to say," Chloe gasped, panting from running. The chaos stilled, and all eyes turned to her, filled with questions and fear. "Now's not the time," an agent shouted. But Chloe pressed on, raising her hands, urgency flooding her words. "I know the truth about Mia. She's not just your daughter, Alex. She's the key to a lineage, a secret society. They've wanted her for years." And with that, the floor dropped from under Alex. This was no longer just about love or loss. It was tied to something larger than either of them. "Everything you thought you knew," Chloe continued, voice rising above the tension, "it's all connected. Your past, it's what they want. Your bloodline isn't just ordinary, it's special." Alex gasped, shock rolling through him. Could it be true? What did this mean for him, for Lisa, for Mia? As they processed the gravity of her revelation, the door swung open again, and another figure stepped inside, the light revealing a familiar face. It was the last person Alex expected to see. "Mom?" he whispered, confusion and disbelief flooding him. No one moved. The air thickened, and Alex felt the ground shake beneath him. The woman he thought was gone, the woman who held the key to every memory, stood there, eyes blazing with secrets. Silence stretched, and suddenly, everything shifted. "I'm back and I'm here to explain everything," she said, her voice steady but low. Questions hung heavy in the air as everyone stared in shock, the narrative twisting once more. Relationships strained and new paths opened, mysteries unfurling with every second. What did this mean? The truth danced just out of reach, lost in the fog of betrayal and ancient secrets. Everything was changing, and suddenly, nothing was as it seemed. How far would they go to uncover the truth? Alex's heart raced, each beat a drum against the cacophony of chaos that surrounded them. The figure who stepped forward was more real than a mirage, yet less familiar. His mother, long thought lost to the shadows of their past, stood before him, eyes burning with urgency. "Mom?" he breathed, hope clawing its way through the fear. The cafe buzzed with uncertainty, everyone waiting for her next words, every face turned in anticipation. "Yes," she confirmed, stepping forward. "I'm here, and I promise, we'll figure this out together, but we need to move. They're close." At that moment, Alex felt something shift within him. Memories flooded back, the scent of her hair, the warmth of her smile. But terror sliced through that nostalgia like glass. But the child? His voice cracked. What do they want with her? They want control, his mother replied, her tone grave. This isn't just about ye two. Mia is the key to something much larger, tied to a legacy that runs deeper than you know. Lisa, who had stood frozen beside Alex, finally found her voice. What are you saying? What legacy? As his mother opened her mouth to speak, Marcus surged forward, intertwining into their fragile moment. Enough of this. You think you can just escape? This has been planned for years! The tension in the room skyrocketed. You're wrong, Lisa shot back, stepping protectively in front of Alex, fire igniting in her eyes. You can't control us! The air thickened. Uncertainty hovered, pulsing like a heartbeat. Suddenly, Lucas took a step forward, positioning himself next to his brother. It's not about control. This is about family. We can't let them tear us apart. Amid the clamor, the agents surged forward, their faces impassive, ready to seize control. Everyone, back out, now! They shouted, but the crowd stirred, confusion spiraling into panic. As the agents pressed closer, Alex felt Lisa's warmth beside him, a tether in the chaos. The moment split into chaos. Images of Mia dancing in his mind, innocent laughter shadowed by the darkness closing in. Get everyone out! Protect Mia! His mother yelled, rallying friends and strangers alike with a fierce urgency. We have to fight back! The crowd spilled into the street, refusing to be drawn apart. Jason moved beside Lucas, off-shuffling Alex and Lisa toward the rear exit. We have to act fast, he urged. But Marcus snarled, You think this ends here? Your little band of misfits? The truth will be exposed. With a sweeping motion, the blast of light erupted from Marcus's device, surging through the air. Alex ducked, pulling Lisa close, dodging the wave of energy that rippled through the cafe. Everything exploded in disarray, screams, glasses shattering, and the sense of reality splintering. In that blinding moment, Alex felt a wave of clarity. We find Mia. We'll protect her, no matter what. And they surged forward, escaping the chaos of the cafe, sliding into the outside world, filled with a cacophony of sirens. The street was alive, filled with faces, fear mingling with determination. They couldn't back down now. Where is she? Alex shouted over the roar of the chaos. And somewhere in that moment, he realized the truth lay ahead, tangled in the legacy they had failed to see. Through the confusion, Lisa grabbed his hand, eyes gleaming with shared resolve. Whatever happens, we're doing this together, she vowed. As the group rounded the corner, Alex glanced back at the cafe, where shadows still loomed, tightening like a noose around old secrets. He felt a mix of terror and hope. They had the fight of their lives ahead of them, and the storm wasn't over. But for now, they moved together into the uncertainty, hearts pounding, the path winding and unpredictable. And just as they disappeared into the thrumming city streets, a chilling echo whispered in the back of Alex's mind. The past will find you. What would that past reveal? What lay ahead in this uncharted battle? Now, before you go, I've got to tell you, you have to subscribe immediately to our channel. Don't miss out on the upcoming exclusive stories that dive even deeper into these mysteries. It's time to make your voice heard. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. And we want to hear from you. Flood the comments section with your reactions, theories, and what you think happens next.